Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Mega Man X All Achievements. We have cleared out the last of Sigma's lieutenants and are now ready to begin our assault on the big bald man himself. And joining us for that is Skyzo. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Hello, YouTube.
I just love the action shot there, by the way. No other game does that until, like, X5, where you just see the big man's face leering at you like that. It's really cool.
I do enjoy this game's presentations.
Now, let's talk about these platforms. Jumping on the cliff, I think, is the safest way to do things regardless, as I guess it was something of a bragging rights thing back in the day, but I never had trouble with it. But the way most people approach those platforms is they use a charged rolling shield and just continue climbing the ones that we didn't see, but bottomless pits. Also, we're taking damage here because we've got another unwinnable boss fight coming up, and getting to around 6 HP or so will help us get through it nice and quick. And speaking of quick, if you hop off the edge of the ladder like that, you can actually do some pretty hilarious text skips if you walk into the boss door, but I don't want to ruin the presentation, so let's just have Vile come in on top of him instead.
Yeah, I was about to say, that didn't seem very intended.
It was not. So, if I were to continue doing the trick, the text boxes would display there instead. And if I fire a rolling shield there, the battle would just start as these text boxes are playing, and you just have to hold A as you go through them. That sounds a little confusing. Watch the speedrun and you'll see what I mean, but I didn't want to ruin the story, because you never know if this is someone's first time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good thing you do.
Yeah. Also, make sure you're standing slightly to the right so that Vile has to pick you up and put you there. It's possible to begin this next part with X stunned a little further left, which makes the thing slightly harder, but, well, just remember to make him carry you. That's all I'll say.
Right, so this is the bald man, right? In the suit.
Nope. Just a guy called Vile.
Alright, so it's not him yet. Okay.
Nope, just some Boba Fett lookalike. Alright, Skyzo. You ready to avenge Zero's murderer? The guy that trashed us at the beginning of the game? Vile himself, one of Sigma's top dogs?
Sure, I imagine this is going to be underwhelming.
And there we go, we did it. Looks pretty easy, right?
That looks very technical.
Well, actually, if you don't have any hard upgrades and no armor, it's actually kinda tough. Remember how we were talking about how the body armor kinda borked the balance a little bit in the game? That there's one of the best examples of why, because the damage numbers go way up when you enter the fortress. You have to be technical like this.
That does seem very difficult.
And yet, if you have the body armor, it becomes very easy. You just get that initial jump, and then you basically just stand still and let them hit you, and you still win. It's weird, isn't it?
Well, that certainly seemed easier, so I'd go with that route instead.
Yeah, get the body armor and chameleons, or if you have the Hadouken, just use it like that, because his opening move is always the same, he just jumps over you. But yeah, this guy, if you're doing things no buster or height of beast style, which also means no dash and no damage, he's probably the toughest fight in the game because, see, he can dash towards you, he can jump while not doing anything, he can fire 1 stun ball, he can fire 5 stun balls, those little orange things that will paralyze you and open you up to a dash. or he can jump and do the knee bombs. He can do basically anything he wants from anywhere he wants, and he does decent damage on top of it. So, in a sense, this guy is the most dangerous fight in the game. It's just, he's also really weak. He can't take punishment very well. He has less than half the invincibility frames of most bosses and has no special resistances to any weapon. So, if you're tanky enough, you don't have to do this. You can just tear right through him.
Right, so in that sense, he's essentially a glass cannon.
Exactly. Which is kind of cool, because it fits his character, too, as this really hyper-aggressive, violent guy.
I can see that. That's interesting.
And speaking of really cool story beats, here's one of the things that we didn't get in our translation that I'm glad this retranslation added back in. Zero's dying line here actually echoes his last line when he rescued us. Don't die on me. The lines are literally the same, so it's like a bookend thing that unfortunately we didn't get in our version.
Right. It's strange that he has, like, blood coming out of his mouth, I noticed. Maybe he's half human.
We just call that oil. Just call it oil.
Right.
Now then, you could do that jump with 2 chameleon sting charges if you want. I choose to do the one for time's sake. And hey, Skyzo, guess what I can do much easier now that I practiced for the speedrun?
Let's take a look.
The stun lock.
Oh, that's nice. So is this a boss gauntlet?
Yep, and it's spread out across all the stages, too.
Very bizarre how he was constantly teleporting towards you.
Well, see, he doesn't actually teleport, it's more like he turns intangible, and then he just reappears next to you. In fact, the longer distance he has to travel, the more time he takes, if you pay close attention.
That's interesting.
Now, here's another boss. Do you see those green pipes?
Yeah, looks like we have to destroy them or something.
No, that's how you determine his path. And as the battle progresses, he gets faster and faster. This is another one of those rare fights where pause buffering is not anything to be ashamed of.
I could see that. I mean, I could see a way that's valid.
Yeah. And also make sure you stand right next to a wall so that you can destroy the spiders as they come down with a storm tornado like that. This guy also does a pretty decent amount of damage, as all the fortress bosses do, so if you're going in unarmored, be very careful. In fact, that's kind of how the game designers, I think, tried to balance around the chest plate. They just have the bosses do obscene amounts of damage, but to counterbalance that, they're also slow, very predictable, so you can easily dodge them with pattern recognition.
Right, although it did look like you had some safe spaces in that area as well, like to the left and right corners.
No, he can get you from anywhere if the green pipe placement is unlucky enough.
Oh, I see.
Also, there was a heart tank that we didn't get here earlier. Unfortunately, this game forces you into at least one revisit. Actually, yeah, it does. If you want all the upgrades, you have to revisit at least one stage. And by the way, you're gonna want to set the quality to 720 if you don't want that sprite flickering to go in and out. YouTube only allows 60 frames a second at 720p or higher, so any lower than that and things are gonna look weird. Happened to Ninja Gaiden too.
Can't imagine that's going to be a problem for many people, and maybe it's just me, but it seems like there are more enemies this time.
Nah, it's the same. They were just going through it faster.
That's probably it.
Alright, so as we covered in the beginner episode, there's a bat you can farm for lives, but I'm not gonna show that off this time. Watch the parts 2 through 4 episode, beginner version, if you want to see that. And now we're gonna cover the Hadouken. The requirements for this thing is that you have to visit a certain screen, an outdoors screen, 5 times, and on the 5th time you have to have all the upgrades and full life. And so the 4 visits before that, you don't have to have full life, but the 5th one, you do. We took care of one of the visits when we were taking care of Armadillo, but for this one we have to die at least 3 times, so it stinks, more than a little weird, but on the other hand, I guess they needed to sell Nintendo Power magazines.
Probably.
Also, here's a Street Fighter reference, the Hadouken. Just down and forward, and there you go. The timing's pretty lenient too, you just have to sort of roll your thumb across the D-pad. In fact, it's so lenient, you don't even need to be on the ground when you push the direction buttons. Just as long as you're on the ground when you actually fire, that's good enough for this game. In fact, you can even do the directions, pause, and then fire, and it'll still count. That's actually how you manage a few of the quick kills coming up in the next part. Pretty nice, eh?
Yeah, and I enjoy the way he like says Hadouken. That's not something you see often. Characters having voice lines in games, especially at this stage.
Alright, Skyzo. Let's finish this off for 0. No time for weeping, no time for regrets. First we have to stop Sigma's rampage, and then we can grieve. That's what this music says.
I do enjoy it, and this looked like a very hard stage.
Well, not with Chameleon Sting, but you can say that about all the game's levels.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like super broken.
Yeah. It is the first game in this series, though. So yeah, Chill Penguin, his projectiles will actually block all your shots, which is why I had to jump to the other side of him. You could wait until he fires 4 of those ice cube things, but I think trying and failing takes about as much time, so I always just go for it.
Right, that's fair enough.
Also, if you have the shield still on when you walk into this next fight, you want to go into the pause menu and switch back to the regular Buster. Oh! One thing I also forgot to mention. You need full health for the Hadouken to work. Otherwise, you lose access to it.
Did you just one-shot him? How did that happen?
The Hadouken. It's really strong.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, it looked like it should do maybe 6 bars of damage, but it did way more.
Nope, 32. Also, guess which weapon this guy's unlucky enough to be weak to?
No, of course.
So, for most bosses, you don't want to do Chameleon Sting because it only does 1 damage, but for this guy, it does quadruple.
No, that's crazy. And if you hit all 3 shots, it's like a lot of damage.
Well, no, he gets invincibility frames, so you can only 1 will ever register, but still, not that helps him much.
Yeah, that was... I mean, I hope there's like a second phase.
Nope. Anyways, next episode will be when we finally defeat Sigma himself and clear out the rest of the resurrected bots. The reason the refights are there, well, 1, it's a Mega Man tradition, but In Maverick Hunter X, at least, which is the remake, it's just their bodies being brought to life. Their personalities are still gone. They're just soulless husks.
Huh, that's dark.
Indeed. They are robots, though. Anyways, this is Fiona de Questers signing out. Have a nice day, join me for the exciting conclusion, and God bless y'all.
Alright, I'll catch you all later.
Bye!